So I just bought this. This is a 1975 Fender Deluxe Reverb. The Deluxe Reverb, especially in its blackface version, is one of the most desirable amps around, and it's been used on so many recordings. It's unbelievable. But everybody wants the blackface, which is like the mid-1960s version based on the AB763 circuit or the July 1963 circuit. And this is based on the A1172 circuit. So a different circuit. It's very similar to the blackface, and it's very common for folks to buy these Silverface Deluxe Reverbs, which are much less expensive than the blackface. Blackfaces have become extremely desirable, extremely expensive. So folks will buy these and modify them to blackface specs. So I've just bought this. I've tested it. It sounds great. Doesn't seem to be any problems with it, but I haven't looked to see what's under the hood yet. Now, I've been told that it's original except for the speaker. The speaker is a Celestion G12, which is probably better than the original speaker in here, which would have been in Oxford. So let's take it apart and take a look at the chassis and see what we're dealing with. See whether there have been any mods made or whether the capacitor has been swapped out or anything. Let's take a look. Okay, so I've taken the back plate off, and first we'll take a look at the tubes. So look at this big old tube here. This is a rectifier. It's a 5U4, and it is a Sovtek 5U4G. So that's not vintage. Leave that out for now. And these power tubes look to be GE RCA, but they have no markings on them. This one doesn't anyhow. Don't see any marking on that at all. And the same with that one. So we'll test them. And then let's see what we have for preamp tubes. So in the normal channel, we're starting with a 7025 is in the normal channel. That's normally what it calls for, but it's 7025 dash, it's also slash 12AX7. 7025 is a lower noise version of the 12AX7 preamp tube. I can't see a brand. Oh, yeah, that's a Sovtek. Okay. Looks like there's all Sovtek in here. Yep, another one. Same, also 7025. Oh, that's a 12AX. Should be 12AT7 because that's the phase splitter, and can't see a brand on it. Okay. Oh, these two protectors are tight. There we go. Another Sovtek. So they stocked up on Sovteks. And another one. And that's your other 12AT7, also without a brand on it. Okay. All right. Well, we'll test those tubes a little bit later on. I mean, obviously they're working because the amp sounds just fine. I don't hear any problems with it. And let's take the chassis out and have a look. Okay, so I have the chassis out, and let's take a look. So this looks exactly like my 1976 Vibrolux, which is the same circuit, although it has two 10-inch speakers and 6L6s rather than 6V6s. So these, let's see, just hang on one second, I'll get a pointer, a little chopstick pointer. So these electrolytic capacitors here are garbage. They haven't been changed, so nothing has been changed from the looks of it. All these original caps. Now, Fender, especially in Canada, in this era, used to spray their circuit boards with wax to protect them from moisture. It looks like there's wax on this, but there's not nearly as much as there is on my Vibrolux. So that's interesting. The other interesting thing here is you can tell this is a Canadian version of, oh, and there's the original electrolytic capacitor for the bias power supply. Well, that should go. And you can tell this is a Canadian version because it has a thermal fuse here, which is required by the CSA for imports. And over there, there's your CSA. Oh, that's your Underwriters Laboratory, and there's your CSA right there. Canadian Standards Association. So everything is original by the looks of it. I'm inclined not to touch it for now. Simply because everything is original and it's sounding good. I don't see any problems with it. It's not humming. Let's take a look under the doghouse, and we'll take a look at the power supply filter capacitors and see how those look, because if those are the original, they're Mallory's, and they're probably toast now after almost 50 years. Okay, before we move on, let's take a look at the date codes. So this, on the power transformer, we have 606 is the manufacturer, 5 for 1975, and 49 for the 49th week of 1975. And on the choke, 49th week of 1975. On the output transformer, 48th week of 1975. And on the reverb transformer, if I can switch this around here. Oh, where'd you go? Sorry about that. On the reverb transformer, 7th week of 1976. Is that right? Could be. Yeah, so this may actually be in 1976 and not in 1975. That's what that looks like anyhow. All right, here we go. Into the doghouse. And as I suspected, these have not been touched. Those are the original Mallory capacitors. Let's see if there's any leakage. They look pretty good. There might be a little bit on those two. No, I think they're okay. Yeah. What's the date code on those now, I wonder? 2357337. I'm not sure which one is the date code on that. Okay. All right. Well, we'll have to decide whether we're going to swap those out or not. Anyhow, that's the amp. It looks like it's completely original except for that speaker. And it looks like it's in pretty good shape. Let's give a listen to it.